Exhausted but committed to the task. There's a task at hand and we have to see it through. So, another opportunity. People ask a lot about studying in the USA. I want to school abroad. I want to come to nursing school. I want to do this. I want to do this. All about F1 visa, how to study in USA. Okay, I have the right person here for you. He happens to be a fellow Ghanaian and a fellow YouTuber. He shares scholarship opportunities, life as an international student in America, and many more opportunities on his channel. He's going to introduce himself to us, tell us about what you need to know before you start searching for school, what you need to know when you find a school, the documents you need to gather, the life of an international student, opportunities out there. And make sure you watch this to the end. Share this with other people. My name is Priscilla Kuma, registered nurse in the US here. I share nursing migration and opportunities, and young achievers come on my channel to share their crafts and what they are doing to change the world around them. And I'm proud to be the host of this gentleman, and I'm very proud of his work as well. So share this video with others. We want to study in the USA. Watch to the end, and don't forget the super thanks sticker. Click on that to say thank you to me. Don't forget to find me in my consult if you're a general nurse, a midwife, or a psychiatric nurse who wants to work in USA. USRN Pathway Consult is the consult I run, and we are changing lives. Find me there, okay? Okay, guys, as I said, we have Fred here. He's a fellow Ghanaian, a fellow YouTuber, and an international student. He's here with me in the US, and he's going to tell us all about himself, his channel, what he's studying, what brought him to America. I know many of you want to study in America. So, Fred, welcome to my channel. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you, Priscilla, and thank you for the opportunity. Hello, everyone. My name is Frederick. I'm currently studying a master's degree in public administration. I already have a first master's, from Ohio University, and yeah, so I'm basically a student and a research assistant, but this is my second master's.
Wow, second master's. So I believe you came to the US to study. And was that what you came to do for your first master's, or did you get your first master's in a different country?
Yeah, I had my first master's from High University, which is also in the United States, in a small city called Athens, in Ohio.
Okay. And how long have you been in the US?
How long? I came to the US in 2019. So depending on what time you're watching this video, from 2019 up to date.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive. So I see you have a YouTube channel and you've been sharing a lot of opportunities there. And I'm so impressed to find a fellow Ghanaian doing that. It takes courage to come online, record and stuff. We've all been there. So what motivated you to start a channel?
Right. So when I was starting my study abroad journey, as at then, if you're a Ghanaian, you will understand that when you're done with, university or first degree, you have to go through a compulsory national service. And so I had to do my national service in the northern part of Ghana. There's this, a place called Bole Bamboy, a small city. So what happened was that when I started my whole study abroad journey, there was no help. I really struggled going through the process. And so I remember finally getting my visa, and then, did not even have money for flight ticket and all that. So my study group members back in, UCC, sort of University of Cape Coast, sort of assisted me in one way or the other. And so when I got here, my main aim was to sort of assist the people or my study mates who assisted me to get here. And so I started, having WhatsApp conversations with them as to how, they asking me how I went through the process and how they can also do it. So as time goes on, it became a lot. And, combining academics with, my GA or TA work, and also having time to guide people through the process. I kept on repeating the same thing. If it's the application process, I talked to my friend A about it, friend B about the same thing. And I felt like, okay, so it's a lot of time me putting into this. And as time goes on, a lot of people came by. I created a WhatsApp page where I was, giving out information to assist people. And so it kept going on, and it kept eating into my time for academics and, work as well. So what I did was to, sort of put the information that I was giving to my friends on YouTube, so that when they ask me about something, how do I do this? Okay, then this is the information. Please watch it. So that led to me creating the channel to be able to assist people so that I will have time for myself as well.
Wow, this sounds just like my journey. Most people know I was a nurse in Ghana before I came to the US, and I had to do my nursing all over again. I also struggled, no information, and I had to teach people every time. And it got to a time the number became larger. So I said, let me do a video. I send you the link. So same journey, same concept. Wow. So I heard you mention University of Cape Coast. What did you study University of Cape Coast, and what motivated you to even start looking for schools abroad?
Yeah, interestingly, University of Cape Coast has a broad start. So, I started with economics. I studied economics, mathematics, and geography. So these were the three majors, and I finally graduated as with a bachelor's degree in social science. So that's what I did, back in, and I graduated in 2018 from the University of Cape Coast.
Wow. And then you said, let me go further to study abroad. Or what motivated that?
So here's the thing. All the way from Cape Coast, and if you know Ghana well, you understand. All the way from Cape Coast, I did my national service in the northern part of Ghana. Yeah. So from the
central all the way to north, yeah.
Exactly. So when I was in the northern region, it was quite difficult because that was the first time I have ever lived. So all the 1 year national service, that's why I spent it. Now having issues with internet connection, I was also thinking about, like, after the national service, what next? It's quite challenging if you're done with your bachelor's degree to sort of get a job. So I started writing application letters when school was on vacation because I was teaching. And then I started, even if you are selling the coconut, I'll give the application letter to you. I was spreading, like, I was sharing the letters all over. I bought this brown envelope, and then every whatever job, I'll just go and give the letter to them. And it took some time. I was almost done with national service, and I had nobody calling me to say that, okay, we have an offer for you. So I was like, what is the alternative? And proud to that, I have had a couple of teaching assistants who were studying abroad. I'm like, okay, this is a good opportunity. How do I go about it? Now, I spoke to a couple of them. Unfortunately, when people are studying here, it's quite a busy world for them. It's difficult to always be talking to them, right? So shout out to my brother Augustine, and then Isaac. They are all here in the US, and they sort of took me through the little time they had. They just told me, this is what you're supposed to do. So I went through the process, and so going through the struggles, not having anybody to sort of help me either financially or the information wise. All I need to do was to read. And so going through that, I learned a lot. And then finally I was successful getting my F1 visa. So I sort of said that, okay, this is the reason that pushed me. And I'm sure that a lot of people out there have the same reason. They are probably done with degree, diploma, high school, and nobody to even help them. There are these opportunities here. You get scholarship, and then you come and study. So basically, that's it. I don't know if I answered your question well.
You did not give up. You kept pushing, and it brought you here. Yeah. So if somebody watching this wants to find a school and study abroad, specifically US, where we live together, what should they be doing? Where should they be looking? Where should they be looking for schools? What's any tips? How should somebody find a school? I want to study abroad. Where do they start from? What documents do they gather? Because it's a vague thing. How do you study abroad? People ask me that daily on my channel.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked this specific question. And if you're watching, please take a pen and a paper. Let's go through this. Now, I have this whole video on my page where I take you through a step-by-step process. So I'm going to just walk you through that. So first of all, what you have to know is that you have to be determined and ready, right? So it's sort of quite an easy process, especially if you have the required information. So you need to gather your document, right? So by document, it depends on what level you want to study. So specifically in the US, if you want to study at the undergraduate level or the graduate level, these are generally the documents you need. And sometimes some of the documents may be specific depending on which program or which university you want to study in. So generally, for graduate studies, you need your certificate, which should indicate that, of course, you have a bachelor's degree from this school. You should have your transcript. You should have 3 recommendation letters. Some universities will take 2, 1, or maybe some of them will not even take a recommendation letter. So three recommendation letters from previous professors or maybe employers. And then you should also have an English proficiency. Now, fortunately, if you're watching this from an English speaking country, because English is your first language and you went through your high school as well as your first degree, using English as a form of communication, then you could have, a one-page document indicating that you did all your high school and undergraduate in English. So you can write and speak English proficiently. In that case, you may not need to write TOEFL or IELTS. So typically, I had opportunity not to sit for that. Now, I didn't have money to sit for that. So I keep on telling people that if you don't have the money, no problem. Sometimes you may need the GRE or GMAT or something. You don't need it. In several cases, you can ask for a waiver or the university do not make it compulsory. So if you don't have money to have do that too, that is absolutely fine. So brushing it up, I have spoken about your transcript, very important. Certificate, very important. Recommendation letters, very important. Get a resume or a CV. That is also very important. The English proficiency, I've spoken about that too. Now, if you're able to put these documents together, these are the major documents. But if you want to study a specific program, let's say if you want to study masters in nursing, probably they will require, you write an SOP or maybe a motivational letter or any other thing to attach to it. If you're able to put this document together, then you now begin like which school you want to go to. There are about 50 states in the United States, right? And there are a lot of universities and colleges spread across the entire country. Now, if it's Michigan, if it's New York, Kentucky, Ohio, wherever you want to study, you can just Google universities and colleges in Ohio, and it will bring a list of them. Take your time, go to their website, go through their programs, and then what I tell people is that you need to really communicate with somebody here before you put in your application, right? So every department has an HOD, or they call it the graduate chair or director or admissions office. Type an email to the person. Hey, my name is Fred. I have this qualification. I'm interested in this program. Will I be considered for admission? Are there scholarship opportunities for me as an international applicant? I mean, you can add other words, but this is simplicity. You attach a copy of your CV and transcript to the email, and then you send it to them. Now, they are going to get back to you to let you know whether you qualify to apply to the program or you don't. Now, if you get this positive feedback, then you put in your application. But if you don't communicate with anyone, then you risk not getting admission or gaining admission without the scholarship. Now, if they will give you the admission and there's no scholarship, of course, they will let you know. So in that case, you will decide whether it's good to apply or not. I don't know if I was able to answer your question. So generally, these are the major steps. Get your documents ready. Find the school. Google is your best help. There are other websites you can locate them. Please email somebody. Talk to somebody in the school. Be sure about admission and funding. Send your document to them, and then they will get back to you. When they get back to you, you just start the application process. And sometimes they would even want to have a Zoom call or a Zoom meeting, understand what you want to do and how they can help you through the process. Let's talk about application fee. Back in Bole Bamboy, I did not have a MasterCard or maybe a Visa card. I PayPal is not accessible in Ghana. Credit, no, I didn't have it. And so it was a bit challenging. So this time around, there are a lot of universities that are waiving the application fee. So even if you don't have money, no problem. There are a lot of schools that I can list, a lot of them here that you can go through, apply for free, and then that's it. When you gain admission, they will send you an email and then you take it from there.
Wow. Thank you. For the sake of my audience, the main challenge has to do with funding. They want schools that have scholarship. They can't afford $80,000 school fees, $60,000 school fees. So how will they know that this school is offering scholarship? Or is there a place to find funding, scholarship to study abroad?
This is a brilliant question because, almost everybody would want to find out this. Now, in terms of the United States and Canada, it makes it quite easier. This is because, as a student, and I'm talking based on experience, studying 2 master's programs. As a student, you are being employed as a teaching, research, or graduate assistant, or on any other form of scholarship. So if you are a graduate student, because your department where you are studying, so for example, in the department where I studied in Ohio University, I was employed as a teaching assistant. What I do is to assist a professor in that same department. So I mark or grade undergraduate test and all that. So I am being awarded a scholarship by my department. And I to answer your question, how? That is why you have to send an email to the admissions office or the director of the program in the same department you want to apply to. Hey, my name is this person. I want to know if I'll be considered for admission. I want to know if there are scholarship opportunities. So if there are teaching, research, or graduate assistantship opportunities in the same department you want to study, they will let you know. So when you apply, mostly and all the time, yeah, you are being considered for the admission, and the scholarship is attached to your admission as well. So if they don't have such opportunities, they will let you know in the email even before you apply. So currently, I'm a research assistant. Now, I wrote an email to ask about this opportunity before putting my application. Now, when I was given the admission, then I was considered for the research assistant. So it's quite easier as compared to other countries where you have to gain admission and later go and struggle applying for scholarships, which sometimes you may end up not getting.
Okay. Wow. Wow. So you found the school. I'm sure you got more than one school reached out to you. And how did you make your decision and deciding to go with this school, or you just go one?
Funny enough, my decision was made based on money because I only had money to pay for one application fee. And that's a thing, and that's why I keep on giving this information out. As at then, I didn't know that I could ask for an application fee waiver. I could have simply, the same director that responded to my email, I could have simply asked, told him that I'm here in Bole Bamboy. I don't even have the means to pay for the application fee. Can you get me a waiver? So I started a lot of applications, started a lot of things, but I was sort of, cash short, or my decision I applied to only one school. And not that I started to apply to only one school. I started to apply to a lot of schools. However, I could only pay for
one
high university. So that's what informed my decision. Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay. So you got the school, you did all the paperwork, and then you had to go to the American Embassy for an interview. How was that experience like? What did they ask you over there, and what made them give you the visa?
Yeah, it's been quite a long time. So funny enough, that was my first time going to the American Embassy, around the environment and all that. And because I have had seniors who were here already, I just had to ask them like, how is the whole thing like, and almost every information is on YouTube, is online. So I decided to read, and I reached out to a couple of friends who were also going through the same process, and we sort of had discussions. I have opportunity to talk to people who had already gone to the embassy to get their visa, and so I asked them. It was sort of a bit of an uncertain experience. This is because you go through everything. You gain admission, you get a scholarship, you pay for your visa application fee, you pay something we call CVS fee, and then the final thing to decide whether you are coming to the US or not is this, few minute interview, right? So it was a bit uncertain. I had to travel all the way from Bole Bamboy to Accra, lodge with a friend, and then go to the embassy with a required document and all that. Let's come to the questions. I didn't spend like 5 minutes with the consular officer, and it was a great experience. He just asked me what program I'm going to study, and then I mentioned it, which university I'm going to, obviously Ohio University. So these questions were something I don't have to think too much about it. And then the next thing I was asked is what am I doing? And interest, I was a national service personnel. What do I do as a national service personnel? I teach. I'm a teacher. So my questions were like, okay, it was not something I needed to really think about them. And then before I realized, he was like, "Oh, thank you. Your visa has been approved." And I feel like vanishing from the embassy as at then. I was so excited.
Oh, that feeling.
You know, like a whole lot of burden taken out of it. I can't actually explain the feeling.
Yeah, I know that feeling. And so you experience it, you can't put words to it. Yeah. So fundings, money in your pocket to survive in America, do they require a bank statement? Do you have to have an amount to count to prove that the embassy that I can take care of myself? Or how is that? You have to raise money, put money in your pocket and come into America to survive, rent, and all that stuff? Or do you get some stipend from school?
That's a good question. So if let me start from the high. If you are given a full scholarship, for example, a scholarship that I currently have at my current university where I'm studying public administration. Now the department takes care of almost everything. And so apart from they paying your fees, you are being given monthly or bi-weekly stipend depending on what state you are in.
Okay.
Right. And so um your scholarship sort of caters for the bank statement you are referring to. Now, instances where you don't have a scholarship at all from the school or have a partial scholarship, that is when you have to provide a bank statement and a paper to support it. So if, for example, you have a partial scholarship, let's say the entire schooling, and interestingly in the US, if you are schooling for let's say 4 years or 2 years, they only estimate your 1 year stay. So there is a document called the I-20, which shows how much of scholarship the school is giving you, how much of what is left for you to cater for. And in terms of you taking care of the rest, it's only the bank statement that you need to show. So assuming the entire schooling is 20,000, and then the school says, okay, we can take care of 15,000. It means that you need to provide a bank statement of about $5,000 to take care of that. It doesn't necessarily have to be from you, the student. It could be from your parents, it could be from your guardian, or even a sponsorship like a government scholarship or any sponsorship from a company you're working for or anything like that. Now, this is the document you need to submit to the school. The school will issue your I-20 saying that, okay, we are taking care of 15,000 out of the 20,000, and then his or her sponsor is taking care of the rest. So this bank statement plus your I-20 and other relevant document is what you have to present at the embassy, just in case the consular officer should ask about who is sponsoring you.
Wow, very detailed. So when you arrive, like somebody pick you up from the airport, do you find your own way to your accommodation or the campus?
Yeah, so good question. Because I was in touch with a former teaching assistant back in University of Cape Coast, he arranged my pickup. It was a terrible experience in New York, but finally I arrived in, Columbus, and then he has to pick me up. It's about an hour and 30 minutes drive to, where the campus is, which is Athens.
Okay, so the accommodation, you some of it is catered for, or you have a shared apartment and you have to split the bill, or how is it like?
Brilliant question. I like this. It depends on what type of scholarship you have. Yeah, a couple of scholarships that would take care of, your accommodation, everything, and as well as the stipends given to you. My scholarship did not cater for accommodation, and so I had to, take care of that. And so out of the stipends that I'm being paid, that is what I used to pay for my accommodation and other, feeding and stuff like that. And so my senior who was here after picking me from the airport, he had already searched for an apartment for me. As at then, I think I paid 315, or I've actually forgotten, but around 300, 350 thereabout. And then, that is monthly. And, depending on what apartment you go for, you either pay for other expenses like utilities, electricity, those kind of stuff. But if you probably go for an apartment where everything is catered for in the monthly rent, then you are on a safer side.
Wow. So when it comes to the visa, if your program is a 2-year program, do they issue a visa for 2 years, or how many years did they give you for as a F1 visa holder?
Right. It highly depends on, of course, how long your program is and even which country. So it could be that, your program is 4 years. However, they will give you like 5 or 6 years visa. Now, remember that the visa is only for entry. And then as an F1 student or as a student, you survive on the document we call the I-20. So even if your program is 2 years and you're being issued a 1 month visa, the most important thing is being able to get access into the country. And now when you are in the country, your visa is not that much important, but you use your I-20. Now, so your I-20 should always be up to date. That is the very important document you need as an F1 visa holder.
Wow. So F1 visa holder. I recently shared an interview on my channel where the person is a spouse of an F1 visa holder. So she is an F2 visa holder. She shares some challenges where you cannot work And you can only school part-time. You can't even school full-time being an F2 visa holder, a spouse of a student. So F1 visa holder, can you work, and how many hours can you work a week as a student in America?
Yeah, great question. This is the question a lot of people want to find out. I'm glad you asked that. Yeah, so as an F1 visa holder, you can work. You can work up to 20 hours a week on campus. That is to be very specific. You can work off campus. So the on campus job should be 20 hours a week. You can do less than that depending on your time preference. However, mostly if you're on a scholarship like myself, I am supposed to work as a research assistant 20 hours a week. And so that is what I'm restricted to. And to be very frank with you, even that 20 hours is more than enough because of the loads of academic work. There's
Yeah.
assignment to do, there's a lot of readings and stuff like that, meetings and as a student. So yeah, 20 hours a week on campus that you are supposed to work as an international student.
Wow. So, as an international student, there's a big variation in your mode of study, how you were taught in Ghana, UCC, University of Cape Coast, and how studies is done in America here. I'm sure there's a big difference. What were some of the challenges when you first got here? Everything is computerized, online assignments, paper due, this, that, that. How was it for you? Who didn't have a chance using a computer to study from kindergarten?
I love this question. Yeah, I mean the educational system in the United States is a bit different from what we were used to back home, and so it's more or less like you are learning, unlearning, and relearning, right? There are a
Yeah.
couple of things I have to unlearn in order to relearn. So yeah, so it has to do with one was for me finding it difficult to really understand the accent and they understanding my accent.
Oh
So there are
yeah.
a couple of times I answer questions in class and the professor would have to ask me to repeat. What it means is that even my mates did not hear what I said. So it's a bit challenging. And sometimes you could go to class and probably understand about 60% of what went on in class because of the accent most importantly and the use of some words. As somebody from Ghana, I am much used to the British English, right? And the British English is a bit different from the American English,
Yeah.
right? So if the British is going to say pavement, American is going to say sidewalk,
Mm-hmm.
so there are a couple of use of words that as time goes on I have to get used to.
Understand.
And in terms of writing, even with the Microsoft Office, you have a way you can set it to the American way. So even with the Microsoft Word, which you are going to use for typing,
Mm-hmm.
by default, whatever computer you have, if you brought it from home, will be set to the British way. Now you are going to write in a British way, be marked by an American professor. So you
Mm.
have to arrange your Microsoft Word to suit the American English, which you are not used to, because you're
Yeah.
going to spell program to be double ME in a
And
British way. And
wow.
then the computer is going to tell you, hey, you are wrong. Program is spelled with one M.
Okay.
So, there are a couple of things you have to struggle with or learn. As time goes on, you get used to it. So my first master's degree was not the same as my second master's because I've been used to the system a little bit, get to know my way around and all that. I'm glad you asked this question.
Yeah. Thank you. So you are doing second master. Somebody will ask, well, why did he do one master and now he's doing a PhD program? So let's take it from the very first master program. And what did you study? What was the duration, and what made you to continue to do another master's program in another school? And how did you get to that other school?
Wow. So yeah, this very interesting question. I'm sure a lot of people want to know this. So here's the thing: I had my first master's degree was a 2-year program, and when going through the program, I really felt in love with what I'm doing now, which is the public administration program, and so that sort of pushed me to say that okay. Can I get a second master's degree? And yes, it's possible. And so what I did was to talk to my professors that I was with back in my previous university and also have a communication with, the professors I'm here with in my current university. And so I just fell in love with the public administration program. I felt like, oh, this is something I really want to do. And so why don't I give it a shot? And so that informed my decision to move into another program and into a second master's. Now, as a student, even though you have like maybe 3 year or 2 year visa, as I indicated earlier, you only need an I-20 to survive. So what you have to do is after if you're about to complete your whatever program you are in, or you can even transfer. You don't necessarily have to complete. So if I was doing a first master's and after 1 year I felt like, okay, that's not something I really like, I want to move into another program. It's just a matter of applying to that school and then transferring to go and continue over there. So that's what exactly I did after about a year before I was about to graduate. Then I started searching for schools. I started looking out for programs, and then I reached out to a couple of public administration programs in different universities, and I felt like what the current university I am in is offering me is the best that I could get. So why not? Let me apply to this school.
Cool. So what happens after a program? Are you gonna go get a PhD, or let's say you are done and you don't want to go? What's next? Somebody who has an F1 visa, I'm told you have about 18 months to live, and after that you get out of the country. How is that dynamic? How does it work?
Right. This is also a brilliant question. So what happens is that after your studies, you have a lot of opportunities. Either one, you if you want to go home, that's absolutely fine. If you want to study another program like what I did, it's absolutely fine. If I want to get a PhD after this one, it's absolutely fine. Now, as a student, depending on which area you're studying, if you're in the STEM program, you have 3 years opportunity, which we call the OPT, optional practical training. And remember, it's optional. You don't have to necessarily do it. So if you want to work as a STEM related program, then you have like 3 years to work. Now, if you are not in a STEM related program, then you have a year to work. So after that, if you want to continue your studies again, for example, if I was done with my first master's degree and I wanted to work, I worked for like 3 years or a year, and then I want to continue to a PhD, that's absolutely fine. Now, throughout this work, the company you're working for could file an H-1B for you, which could make you a worker in the country. As going through your education, you fall in love with someone, you get married, and then the person can also use that to file for you, and you can take it from there. As a student, if you probably win the DV lottery or something like that, you can go ahead with that. I'm not an immigration expert, so I only talk about the F1 stuff that I know. So sometimes if you are even associated with a religion like a church, you're working for a church or something like that, they can also file for you. There are a couple of opportunities that if you are an F1 student, you have opportunity to speak to a registered immigration attorney. They can give you all the options available for you, and then you can choose from there.
Okay. As I mentioned, he has a YouTube channel. If you want more details, go find him on his channel. But my last question, what are the most common mistakes international students make? People who want to come study abroad, what are the mistakes they make? And any last tip, anything they should look out for, or they should not do, or something you think you did and you want to correct that? That's my last question. I'll let you go.
So the first one I'll talk about will be giving up. Sometimes people want to, the whole study abroad thing is something that appeal to them. Yet, once they get refusal letters from one or two schools, they give up. You don't have to give up. If it was easy, like everybody would have done it. So once you set up your mind to do it, people have already done it. Since I got here, have had opportunity to interact and assist in diverse ways. A lot of international students, over thousands of people. So whatever you want to do, a lot of people have already done it. So why don't you ask for help? So that leads me to my second mistake. People want to do it all alone without asking for help.
Yeah.
Whatever path you're traveling, people are, please ask them, hey, Fred, how should I do this? How should I go about this? I know a couple of people, students are busy, but there are a lot of people out there like myself who are willing to assist you whenever you are ready. The next thing is the misconception that I need a lot of money. Right? You don't need money to begin this process. All you need to get is the level of seriousness and you being determined. So just like I said, the misconception that I really need GRE, it's not true. Like a lot of programs do not require that. The misconception that I really need to write TOEFL, I don't have money. It's not true. I didn't do any of them. And in fact, I did. If I wanted to, I didn't have the means or the money. Bole Bamboy, there's even only one bank. Where do you go to write GRE? You can't. So the another thing is that you don't need necessarily to apply to a school that takes $100 application fee, whatever. If you have the money, that is absolutely fine. But if you don't have it and you feel that is a hindrance, please opt for free universities that are waiving application fee. So basically, this is these are the things I'll talk about. And any other misconceptions that people have, you just need to seek for the right information, talk to the right people, and then you will sail through.
Wow. Thank you very much. It's been very lovely having you. Thanks for making the time. Thanks for the good work you're doing on YouTube. So how can we find you on social media? Your YouTube channel is TFE right on the screen, I believe, right?
Yeah. Right. So thank you for this time, this opportunity too. So my YouTube channel is TFE. Just go to YouTube, type TFE. I have a lot of information out there that would really help you with your application process. If you have a low CGPA, which universities can you apply to? If you need universities that do not require application fee. In fact, I put almost all the processes you need to go through, to different countries and all that over there that you can check it out. On Twitter, I am, the same thing, Mr. Fred, or maybe you type my full name, Frederick Japan, and then you can link up with me on Twitter as well.
Wow. Thank you very much. And I hope to bring you back onto this channel. And I hope to be on your channel someday to also talk about my journey as well. It's been lovely doing this with you.
Great. Thank you for having me. I would highly recommend that you subscribe to Priscilla Kuma RN channel to get to know all the information you need, and also reach out to her. So it's been great being here. Remember to click on the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Please tell someone about Priscilla Kuma RN YouTube channel, and recommend it. Just share as well. Support the channel. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your shout outs. I really appreciate it, and have a good day.
You too.